There is a power in any world we encompass, but Dr. Nick joins us this morning with the power of New York, since we are doing
New York.
People taking it in the Big Apple.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm always impressed that they're not intimidated. Because it seems, I mean, it's so big and it seems like everyone's doing everything and yet they feel like they can too. Why does New York fill people with that kind of hope and inspiration?
One of the reasons is because of the way it's grid. Avenues and streets. I mean, when it was put together, I think early 1800s, it was done with the intention of making it very simple for people to navigate. And if you think about New York, it's not the city of meandering. I mean, it's all, you're either going forward or you're going left or right. It's avenues and streets. So you never really get lost in New York. That's real power in a city.
That's true. 1, 2, 3, 4.
When you've got it down within 24 hours, you know kind of where you are. The Upper East Side, the lower, Harlem. It's just an amazing grid. And, but there's so much to New York, Whitney. I mean, the iconic skyline. Again, Broadway. I remember I was there not too long ago. Literally walked from Chinatown into Little Italy.
Oh.
You're moving. I remember going once, and a good friend of mine said, "What do you feel like?" And I said, "I would love an authentic Russian restaurant."
Oh.
Took me to an authentic Russian restaurant, and I had authentic Russian vodka.
What'd you think?
I don't remember
What was better, the food or the vodka? Doesn't remember much.
But that's the city.
Yes.
It's just a city of I don't know how many languages, how many cultures.
Oh, I can't tell you how many we heard. We kept saying we must have heard hundreds. I couldn't even pick them out.
Yeah. So some have implied. I haven't done much research on it. That people live longer. And all I can figure is that if that's the case, it's got to be because you walk.
Oh.
I love New York because I walk.
You're right.
I rarely have gotten in a cab. I'll take a subway, but only when it's a really long stretch.
Sure. We probably did 8 to 10 miles a day.
And you never knew it?
No. And my back kind of knew it by the end of the day.
Oh, okay.
And my feet,
okay.
I was a little sore and we were hauling camera equipment.
Oh, that's right. You were hauling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pack mule.
Yeah. That's different. But even there, that was great exercise.
Oh, it was.
That gave you a chance to eat all the pizza you wanted.
And still lost 5 pounds. I probably found them back in Louisiana, but I'm telling you, got on that scale the next day, I was like, yeehaw.
Yeah, there's something else about New York that I find fascinating. It's what we call a liminal city. Liminal meaning you're out of your structure. Liminal is on the edge, in between. And when you're in New York, you're kind of in between. You're not in your normal structure, so your identity shifts to doing things that you would not ordinarily do. Las Vegas is probably considered a liminal city, but I don't think any city can compare to the liminality of New York. I'm telling you, I was there once, went to a great restaurant, Nobu, took my sister and niece and said, we're going to sit at the bar and order whatever we want. And Susan said, Nikki, don't do it. I said, it's going to be fine. Whitney, I ate peanut butter and jelly for 8 weeks.
How much was the meal?
I'm not telling you, but I'll tell you this, I didn't regret it.
Really?
There's something
when the bill came, you didn't die.
Well, actually, I did a little bit. I gave.
It was it had to have almost been 1,000, right?
It was way up there.
Oh.
But Whitney, what a moment! What a moment! And again, sometimes you got to splurge and go out of the box and say, "I'll eat peanut butter and jelly. I'll do without in order to have this."
This moment.
There is something very powerfully toward mental health to me to say that we sacrifice other things to be in that moment that is so grand. When will I ever have that experience again? And I live with the memory.
Oh, right.
I say, go to New York. You know it.
Oh, yeah.
You love it.
Oh,
don't
I
you?
do.
What are some of your loves? I mean, the food I know.
Oh,
the theater.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the energy.
The energy.
Oh, you can just be. And I stay really close to Times Square because we were doing.
I do too.
A lot of Broadway things, and I thought it would be noisy, but we stayed in I just never heard the noise.
Yeah.
It was lovely, but you walk out and you just feel the excitement.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say you didn't hear the noise. I have struggled with New York in the sense that after about 4 or 5 days, the energy overtakes me because it's the city that never sleeps, and I don't tend to want to sleep when I'm there.
Right.
And because there's just always something to do, and that's a struggle for me. But I believe the people that live there don't get so caught up in the energy. That's a guess that I have.
I think you're right.
They live in a normal, everyday. In fact, I've had many people in New York that live there say they live in neighborhoods. It's very neighborhoodish.
Yes.
That, you know, you and I go as travelers and we want to go all over the city, but people want to go, when I go to visit there, I have friends that want to take me to the same restaurant. And I'm like, why? Because they're known.
They know it's good.
But see, we go as tourists, we don't want to go to the same restaurant every time.
No. I talked to Jamie Wax and had a chance the first evening I was there to spend a little time with Jamie, who's doing amazing things and changing so rapidly that actually I didn't feature him in the people in New York taking a bite of the Big Apple, although he is taking big bites.
And you could have, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, but it's changed. His life up there is changing so fast. I just can't wait. So I promised him I'd come back in a couple of months and we'll do an update. So it's fast and furious, and he's got a play he's working on, taking it to Broadway. He thought he could do it in a year. Everyone said it'll be 3 years, and he said, Whitney, they're right, it's going to take 3.
But how about the journey? How about the journey of just being there?
Yes.
And of every day not knowing what's coming. It's not one of these goal-centered cities. You're always moving and journeying, but it's definitely the place for writers. Definitely a place for books, publishers. I mean,
and musicians.
It's just iconic. And people can talk about the East Coast and the West Coast. What would we be without New York? It was the beginning of the LGBT movement. Where it got its rise and thrust. It's just been the beginning of so many, many great things. It's just an innovative city.
Yes.
And always will be in its diversity.
I read a quote of someone that said, every writer, if you want to write, should live in New York, but if you can't live in New York, live in a place that has that kind of energy and vibe. And I thought, well, that's interesting, but I don't know how many places like that there really are. But
people say that Oxford, Mississippi has that vibe.
Oh,
now
you know
went
what?
To Ole Miss.
Vibe, but not energy. Only because it's like, I love it, but it's sleepy.
Well, it's hard to compare to New York to anything. So you're right.
But I might put New Orleans there.
New Orleans.
Because it has so much creativity too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read somewhere where someone said there's no nerd or quirk in New York, and that would be the same for New Orleans. It's whatever.
No one ever stares twice.
It's whatever.
You can be in whatever.
It's whatever. And every experience there has its moment. I wanted to quickly say I woke up one morning, go get the New York Times, and I walked down the street and I saw everybody moving into this theater. And it was just all sorts of people. And I said, something's going down. Ooh. Something's going down. I walked in. 20 minutes later, the curtains opened. 75-piece orchestra, 200-piece gospel choir that threw down for 45 minutes to a packed house. Now, and that was free. Wow. Well, actually, I dropped a tip. But I mean, that's New York.
Yes.
You never know what you're going to get in that city, or what you're going to bump into, or how many bag ladies you're going to run into that want to talk to you.
Yeah, right. Or scream at you. I had one scream at me. Well, she screamed at everyone on the subway. Actually,
I bet.
Yeah.
But you take that almost as it's New York.
Thanks,
Good
Dr.
talking
Nick.
with you.
More Weekends with Whitney after this.